Yo, what's going on guys, so I'm here. Now today we're making a quick guide on how to make gold with Inscription. Now you can easily make 10k per hour, 50k per hour, 100k per hour. All depends on how you do this and which server you're on and everything. So the first way to make gold with Inscription is mill herbs and sell the pigments. Now this obviously depends on your server, but usually the price for herbs is cheaper than the price for pigments. This depends on the scrapping market, because if people are farming greens and scrapping a lot of greens, then you can actually get pigments or the ink from scrapping. And you can't get herbs from scrapping, so if a lot of people are scrapping and selling those inks and pigments, then the price for inks might be cheaper than the price for herbs. You have to check out your server, but if the price for ink is higher than the price for herbs, then buy out those herbs and mass mill them. You can use either the mass milling ability, or you can make a macro to mass mill herbs, so you can mill one herb at a time. Then you can just spam that macro and just sit there and spam one button while watching a TV show or something on the side. It's a really easy and lazy way to make gold. Like, a lot of people actually did this in the early BFA times, like the launch of the expansion, the first week and so on. People sold a lot of ink, because people making the Dark Moon cards, the trinkets, they just bought the ink as well, depending on what ink you need, of course, but like, they need the iridescent ink, I think it's called, the green ink, so you probably just sold the green ink and then you used the blue and the blue and the red ink to craft whatever. You could craft war scrolls, you could craft contracts and stuff like that with the blue and the red ink. I don't know the names. But yeah, if you want to make some easy and lazy gold, then you mill the herbs and you sell the pigments, or you make the pigments into ink and sell the ink. This depends on what I just talked about, so you just have to check out your server. But on my server this works quite well. I can make easily 10 to 15k per hour just by doing this, and that means I can sit there and press one button and watch a TV show and make 15k per hour. That's really fun for me, really easy to make some gold that way, if I just want to chill and watch some TV. Now the second way to make some gold that a lot of people used to make millions at the launch of BFA is Dark Moon trinkets. I don't think that comes as a shock to anyone, because a lot of people made tens of millions of gold only by doing this, because all you had to do to actually make decent gold was to buy the pigment and the ink on your auction house, or buy herbs on the auction house and mill them yourself and turn them into trinkets. That's all you had to do, and you made a massive amount of gold. At the launch of BFA, I think making a trinket cost you, if you did everything from scratch, if you bought the herbs on the auction house, you spent roughly 70k per trinket, not the cards but the trinkets themselves. And they sold from anywhere from 100k to 500k, depending on what card you got. I think that the tanking trinket sold for 125k or something, and the Fathoms card sold for 500k. So it depends on how lucky you are, but you can make a ton of gold by that, and you can still make a lot of gold with this, because the herbs are cheaper. So you spend like 20k per trinket now, and 25k, 30k per trinket, and the tanking trinket still sells for, I don't know, 35k probably, 35, 40k. And the Fathoms trinket still sells for roughly 150k on my realm. These prices, like, it depends on your server, but like usually it's still worth doing, because people still buy these trinkets either to gear their main or to gear their alt, because these trinkets are 355 item level, and it's a really fast and easy way to gear your alt. Now the third way to make some gold with Inscription, which is probably not as useful now as it was at launch, is contracts. People made a lot of gold on these in the early BFA days. They're still making, like, they're still decent for gold making, but it's just not as good as early BFA, because people had to buy contracts. And everyone was doing world quests, and you wanted to get those 10 extra rep per world quest, because at the beginning of the BFA, everyone was doing world quest left, right and center, just doing everyone on the map. But now the hype for world quest and reputation kinda dubbed down. It's not really up there anymore. It's like, you don't have to have a contract, but I think a lot of people still might invest 100, 200, 300 gold into a contract for their alt character as well, just to get some extra rep, and it's like a one-time purchase. So it's still a good way to make gold, but it's not like, it shouldn't be your main gold making way. You should have like different sources of income, but having a contract here and there is still good for gold making, so I would suggest making a couple, make 10, 20 contracts, put them on the auction house every single day, and they should be selling. Now the fourth way, and the only way of making gold in Inscription that will go up in price, I think, is war scrolls. This is an item that will see a massive spike in price in the upcoming days, because this is what War Scrolls do. If you don't have a mage in your group, you can use a War Scroll of Intellect to give you Arcane Intellect instead of having the mage. So while a mage gives you 10% intellect with the Arcane Intellect, the War Scroll of Intellect gives you 7%. So you lose out on 3%, but you still get the buff at a reduced rate. So this is going to be very useful in Mythic Plus, but you can use this for attack power and stamina as well. So just as an example, if you don't have a warrior in your group, you can use a War Scroll of Battle Shout to give you the warrior's Battle Shout, but you only get 7%. While the Battle Shout from the warrior gives you 10% attack power, the War Scrolls gives you 7% attack power. So you get the buff from either a warrior, a priest, or a mage, but you get 7% instead of 10%. And you can use this for attack power, stamina, or intellect. I think you can only have one active. But let's say you have both a priest and a mage in your group, so you can get both the stamina and you get the intellect. And then you buy the War Scroll of attack power for your melee DPS, then you have all three buffs. I don't think this will be used too much in raids, because I think everyone is going to bring both a priest, a mage, and a warrior to raids, especially in Mythic raids where you have 20 people. If you're doing 10-man raids, then maybe you'll buy one, but mostly you have more than 10 and you should be fine. But for Mythic Plus, this will be insane, because you can't have you can, but I don't think that's going to be the meta, to have a priest, a mage, and a warrior in the same group. I don't think that's going to work. So I think for every single Mythic Plus push group, you will buy one War Scroll. It's just a question of which one you're going to buy, and to make a statement, I think the intellect and the attack power will sell more than the stamina, because it just makes sense, right? More people need intellect and attack power than stamina. Stamina is mostly for the tank, and even for the tank, most of them want to have more DPS to get more aggro anyway, so having attack power might even be better for the tank than stamina. So I think attack power and intellect will be the two most valuable ones. So if you're going to make any of these, then make attack power and intellect, and you should see them spike up in price whenever the raids come out. And one other thing to add about this is that a lot of people with Inscription are planning on dropping this for alchemy. So the supply of War Scrolls might be very limited, but the demand will be high. So for those of you that actually keep Inscription and don't go back to alchemy, you can make a ton of gold with War Scrolls, because this might go up to 1k gold per War Scroll. And right now on my server it's like 100 gold per War Scroll, and if everyone who has an Inscription goes back to alchemy to make flasks for the raid, and you stay with the War Scrolls, then you can be like the one supply on your server, and you're gonna make everything. You can control the market for War Scrolls and make millions of gold. Maybe not millions, but hundreds of thousands at least, and I'm planning to make quite a few with this myself. I'm just hoping that someone on my realm actually goes for Mythic Plus pushes and buys these, so I can make some easy gold. The last way to make some easy gold, well, there's two ways. You can make glyphs and sell them, but I don't think that's going to make you a ton of gold, and selling glyphs is very difficult on my realm because I'm on a low pop realm. But if you're in a high population realm, then selling glyphs might be worth it. And also one extra way to make some easy gold, like a tiny bit of gold, is to make those codex of the Quiet Mind, then make the Tome of the Quiet Mind, and sell those, because people will use those for Mythic Plus and raids as well, to change their talents. So yeah, that's a quick guide on how to make gold with Inscription. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you around. Peace out.